Hola, my lovelies. It's me, author Alexandria Infante, coming to you today with a new review. But first, I'd just like to say welcome to our channel if you are a new viewer. If you just happen to stop by, you saw like maybe one of our videos out there in the YouTube land, and you thought you'd stop by and check us out, welcome. We are an indie review channel and we feature authors of color, but we also show some love to our Caucasian indie authors. So all we review on this channel is indie authors. And so now today is a new review, and I finally got a mystery. So now, because of the fact that you guys know we have to give Binge Sound his shout out, I'm pretty much doing it right now. If you need music for your videos, your commercials, your book trailers, any of that, all you have to do is go to binsound.com and basically you can download any of his music. He has free, royalty free music. Try saying that 5 times. And basically, all you have to do is go to the site, binsound.com, go through his music catalog, and then choose whichever song that you want. And then it has a little drop box that will drop down, and then it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Now, there's free, royalty free, which is what we use here on the channel, and then there's royalty free, which basically means you can buy one of his songs, and then at some point, if you choose to use that on your channel or your whatever, then you don't actually have to give him this shout out. You can do your, just however you want to do it your own way, and you don't have to give him the shout out because you bought the music itself. And so now today, we are going to review Room 287. It is a mystery. It's sort of like a thriller suspense mystery, something like that. I'm not exactly sure how the author categorizes it, but because she's on the hunt after, to find out who pretty much killed her mother 8 years ago, it's like a mystery, crime, suspense all mixed up together. That's pretty much how I saw it. And so it's called Room 287, and it's by author Chenelo. I am not even going to pretend that I know how to pronounce your last name. So it's actually, I don't actually have it up there, but his first name is Chenelo, and well, actually, I don't know if it's male or female. I'm so sorry. But I can't say the last name. I don't even want to try to mess it up. Like how I used to pretty much butcher Eric Nerster's name. Well, this one I would kill even more. So now, but his first name is Chenelo. So, or their first name is Chenelo. So if you go look on to Amazon for this book, you'll be able to see the cover right there. That's the cover. And then if you can pretty much pronounce that yourself, you can pronounce it, but you can see it right here anyway. And so you could just go and type it in, write it down, whatever, and then you can go and look it up on Amazon yourself. But anyway, so the book begins with Stacy, and Stacy takes a job at a really fancy, fine hotel. Now, I'm not exactly sure where this takes place. I'm believing it's like South Africa or Africa, one of those. I didn't know where the city was. I said I was going to look it up, but then I had to go to the supermarket and a whole bunch of other stuff, so I completely, totally forgot to look it up. And so, but I believe it's South Africa. If it's, or somewhere in Africa, and if it's not, Mr. Chenelo, Miss Chenelo, please correct us down there in the box, the comment box down there. So Stacy takes a job at a fancy hotel because the hotel hosts the it's like it's a nonprofit agency that gets young girls, whether they're prostitutes or street workers or whatever, it gets them off the streets, and then it helps them to find better jobs. And in finding these better jobs, they usually send them overseas, like probably au pair and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is that her mother used to help run this, or it was her mother's foundation. She founded it in the first place. And so basically, her mother got killed. And she has no clue how she got killed. It was 8 years ago. And so she's been looking, she's been trying to find out information as to why her mom really died, because she does not believe that it had anything to do with whatever it is that they told her, which was the reason why she died. And so she makes the trek from her town, and she gets a job at this fancy hotel. And so she felt like she could do some digging. And so the actual foundation is having like a conference or whatever you want to call it, like that. And so basically it's there to recruit more young girls. And so she's like, okay, this is my turn to find out what really happened, to see if I can get some information on how my mom actually really died. And so she goes into, like, she's sitting at the bar, like, one day after she got off work, because the employees are allowed to actually sit and talk and whatever. And she's kind of like, I kind of saw her as like a bit lazy, because like she would go hide off in rooms and not do her job, or wait, take 2 hours to clean a room when she knew she was way done. And so basically she would go into these rooms, and then she would take her time and then finish up. And then, well, one of the policies was that if you worked for the hotel and you finished all your stuff, you clocked out, you did all your stuff, you could go and sit at the bar and have a drink or whatever. And so she's sitting at the bar one day, and then this man comes up to her and he starts telling her all about this. I'm so sorry, I don't remember his name. Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry. And so she's sitting at the bar, and then he's like telling her about the program. Well, she already knows about the program because her mother was one of the ones who founded it. And so he's like, you should come to the symposium tomorrow. We can help you find a better job and blah, 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 blah. So he gives her the whole spiel. And then so she's like, okay, she's thinking like she's going to go. And so she clocks out. She waits, like, she doesn't go that day, but she waits like the next day. And the next day she had to work like through the entire day. And so she's thinking, okay, I'll try to trek down there just to see if I could at least catch the end of it. And so she leaves. She at some point, like the day before, the chef comes in, and she's got like a knife, and she's standing there, and like she's packing her things to basically go home for that day. And the chef is like, basically, stay away from that man. That man is evil. He's this and he's that. But she's standing there with a knife, so she's sort of like, okay, why'd she have a knife? And so it kind of freaks her out or whatever. But she tells her, don't mess around with this man, blah, 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 blah. And so she decides to go to the symposium thing anyway. And then when she gets there, her mother's best friend walks in, and so she turns around, she tries to hide her back, like acting like she's filling out this paper, and she's like, and she calls her name, and so like she's trying not to turn around, and then finally she calls her name, and she walks over to her, and she puts her hand on her shoulder, and she turns around, and she's like, oh, hi, and she tries to play it off like, oh, I didn't hear you calling me. And then so she's like, why are you here? Because she already knows who she is. So the whole premise is she had gotten this job under an alias. Like, she didn't use her real name. Because the whole point was is she wanted to try to find out what happened, what really truly happened to her mother. And so she knows exactly who she is. And so she has to like try to play it off, and she gives her like these fake answers. And then finally she takes her by the hand, and she leads her out of this little conference thingy. She takes her off, and then she says, why are you here? She starts asking her like real questions. And so she's getting that there has to be something fishy with this program, because why doesn't she want her in it? And if the program is really so good, because she keeps telling her, you can do better, just wait in your life, you don't need to go to this program right now. What if you take a job and it doesn't work out for you, and then you're stuck in another, she starts making all these excuses as to why she shouldn't apply for this job. And so she agrees. And then she says, thank you, and she pretty much leaves, okay? And that's where I'm going to stop, because this is a short story. It's not a full-on, book. So now, if I had to say anything about the book, the story was pretty good, it was a short story. It was pretty good. The issue that I had with the book is that I believe, now you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm a teacher. So I believe that English is not your first language. And so with English not being your first language, a lot of the transitions are very, how should I say this? They're very book oriented. Like, you learned English from a book, and like your teacher, because I used to teach English. I taught ESL, AMLA, basically all of those when I first started out as a professor, because you get the crappiest crap of crap. So I freaking had a 6 a.m. ESL class, and so I'd be hyped up on espresso every day, and it was so funny because all of my students, I'm going on a tangent here, but all of my students were foreign. And so I would come in the class and I'd be like, so hi guys, let's do, and they'd be like, and they basically be like, Miss Ivante, were you drinking espresso today? Because I'd be all hyped up or whatever, because it was a freaking 6 a.m. class. But anyway, and so the conjugation is a little bit off. I feel like you learned English, like I said, through a book, or your teacher who taught you wasn't a native English speaker. So there are some transitional problems. There's some a little syntax is out of whack because of the fact that English is your second language. And so those can become very problematic because they were throughout the entire book. And so if I had to star this book, I would star it at 3 stars, because the book is very intriguing, and it's very like entertaining. But the problem with the syntax, and it's only because you aren't a native English speaker. And so what I would say, I personally, I wouldn't put the book out like that, because you can get a 3-star for it. But why get a 3-star when you can get a 4 or you can get a 5? And so if I were to say anything about the book, I would say that you take it back and get Grammarly. Grammarly is free. You can type in Grammarly on Google and it'll come up, and it'll basically you can download it to your computer, and then basically when you you take your manuscript and you put the entire thing into Grammarly. And what Grammarly like my mama. But what Grammarly will do is give you sentence structure, syntax, tell you when you have prepositional phrases, when you have dangling participles, when you have things that basically don't function as we speak. And so that will help you, because I noticed in a lot you have I am going to. Well, most Americans will just say I'm going to. And no, you don't necessarily have to go with the I'm going. But what I'm saying is the structure of your work, I can tell that English is not your first language. And so I just feel like that might be a problem for you later on, when you really, really start to marketing your book. And so that's why I would say download Grammarly, stick your stuff in there, and Grammarly will help you conjugate the book the way that it needs to be conjugated, because it kept throwing me off. But because of the fact that I am a professor and I was an English and literature professor before I even started the mythology and art history. That was my niche. I only did English because of the fact that when you're a new professor and you're trying to get, you're trying to get something under your belt. Like, I had my literature class to teach, but you're an adjunct, so you are not a part of the university. You're basically hired on independently, you may as well say. You don't get office, you don't get any of that stuff, and so you're an adjunct. And so basically I took the ESL classes and the English classes because, one, I love those people. They were amazing because you get to learn culture from all over the world, and I like teaching English. And then basically they were the crappy classes because I was a new professor. So none of the tenureds or the freaking ones who were like at 8 years, they don't want those classes. So basically, if you're gonna teach, it's like the first hired, but anyway. And so I would really truly suggest that you download Grammarly. But besides that, I believe that it would be a very good read. You can get the 3 stars, but the only problem is you're barely getting that 3 stars because of the fact that, there are some issues with it, and it's technical issues. It's not your story. Your story is compelling and it keeps you on your toes. It's just that it's not worded right. So what's going to happen is especially American readers. American readers are very cheesy and some are very snobbish. I'm a book snob. I try not to be, but it's just in me, probably because I'm a literature teacher. But to turn a phrase, to use just like, which I think is the reason why I love historical romance so much, that is proper verbiage, that is, the vernacular fits the time period, because I've read a lot of historical romance that basically was in the now or in up-to-date language, and it just throws me out. I need that vernacular, the measure of a man. That's just like amazing and beautiful to me, but that's probably because I'm a literature teacher. But anyway, and so I truly believe if you do those things, you can get a 4-star with your short story. But right now, you're skating on a 3 stars because of the fact, like I said, the sentence structure, just the whole, it's quite obvious that English is not your first language. And so, basically, fix that, and I promise that you will get your 4-star, or you will get a solid 3.25, 3.5, but you need to fix all that stuff first. And that's pretty much it to that review. So now, just a little bit about what we are going to be doing on the channel. So, like I said, Monday will be chat. Tuesday will be review. Wednesday will be review. Thursday will be review. And then Friday we will do chat again. And then Saturday, what we are coming up with on Saturday is, because we're trying to incorporate more into the channel and get more faces in here beside mine. Because remember, it's not actually my channel. It's Jen's channel. I'm just the face. And so what we're trying to do to get more interaction from our viewers out there, we're trying to get more viewers because unfortunately you authors don't actually watch the channel. I feel like it's kind of sad because you guys want us to review your work, but you don't want to watch the channel. So that's kind of janky to me. But anyway, I'm not here to guilt nobody, but so what we're doing is to gather more readers so your stuff can be watched. We are starting, Saturdays will be manga and anime day. We have a reviewer that's going to come in, and on Saturdays, he's going to review comic books, manga, and anime by independent authors, which I think is freaking cool because all of those genres I freaking obsess over. I love them. And so that's what's going to be on our Saturdays. So he is going to take over our Saturdays, and he's going to, every Saturday that you pop on, you're going to see manga, anime, comic books, all of that for indie authors. So if you are an indie author, please, who writes manga, who writes comic books, who writes anime, and you would like to get your stuff on the channel, please, please, please send your work into multicultural romance Latina. Let me say that again. Multicultural romance Latina at gmail.com, and you need to put attention Matthias. Attention Matthias. He is the one that's going to be doing the comic books, the manga, and the anime. So make sure if you are one of those authors that you send your stuff in to Matthias. Once again, add Multicultural Romance Latina. And then on Sundays, Sunday is going to be our author interview day. So we have some awesome interviews coming up. We've actually got some authors that are very interested into and putting their interview on. We're going to be interviewing them on Sundays. So every Sunday from now on you will not be seeing me. You will be seeing the authors that we are going to feature on Sunday interview. So right up there, basically we will give you a shout out on Fridays to remind you what's coming on Saturdays and Sundays, because basically Saturday I won't be on the channel and Sunday I won't be on the channel. So I will be on the channel Monday through Friday, doing, like I said, Monday will be chat, Tuesday will be review, Wednesday will be review, Thursday will be review, and then Friday we will go to chat, and then Saturday we will go to anime and manga, and then Sunday we will go to interviews. And then that will be the entire week for us. So we hope that you guys stay tuned and that you guys continue to follow us. And if you are viewing us for the first time, please make sure that you click that little button to subscribe, and then click the little bell up there, and basically click that as well. So each time that we upload a video, you will get a heads up. And that is pretty much it. I will see you again tomorrow with a new review. Thanks bunches. See you guys soon.